All right, so let's move forward then. It was another big week for two letters that everyone loves to get excited about, a pair. NX rumors.
Oh,
NX rumors.
Yeah.
All the NX rumors. Oh my God, it makes everything. So
I think rumors in this case is
speculation.
euphemistic.
So you're saying speculation?
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
some of this stuff really read like.
So let's start with the first one.
Okay.
Good friend of the show, reporter for the Wall Street Journal, tweeted, Takashi Mochizuki tweeted basically a report that was released by, this is Macquarie Equities,
Yep.
I believe is the name of the Macquarie Capital Securities in Japan, which also unknowing friend of the show, Gibbo Game, who works for them, basically compiled this report. And he speculated and said in the report that the NX may work with smartphones, PCs, and even rival consoles such as a PlayStation 4. Now, this lines up with a patent that came out a couple months ago, that sort of hinted at shared processing, a shared processing environment where when a device enters the room with some of this other stuff, it is somehow beefed up. Nintendo took out this patent, apparently, and some folks caught it, set off more wave after wave of speculation.
Yeah.
And folks, of course, said, "What is the meaning
sound
of
like
this?"
Obama today.
Yeah.
Folks.
Yeah, folks said, "What is the meaning of this?" So this is very specifically the PC, smartphone, PS4 line of this seems to be.
Well, I think there's one word in there that sounds a little bit less likely to me.
PlayStation
like
4
Nintendo has talked about, and like the future being about this kind of connection, right? Like there'll be a centralized Nintendo account, like your identity, and they want to fix kind of that federation or segmentation of their account system, which plagued us on the 3DS and the Wii U, right? So I buy PC, I buy mobile, and that they're bridging these consoles. The PS4 in there, I do not buy. That it just sounds like such a stretch. That a company that says, "Oh, we absolutely believe in hardware and a console future, and we're not going to go third party," and then to say this device ties in with the PS4, and there are more rumors about that. That sounds like a stretch.
We're getting to those. Hang on. Why would this be good for Nintendo? Why?
Why would this be good for Sony? Who also make
good for Sony?
Who also make the Vita?
Yeah,
still,
they're like, why would this be a good idea? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Unless there's a JV coming between Sony and Nintendo, which you just never know, right? Like the industry constantly is reshaped by new partnerships, and certainly we have a Minecraft game on the Nintendo console, which is now a Microsoft-owned franchise. But that sounds weird.
So the exact wording from the report: we think recent patent filing, shared processing, and portable controller have negatively impacted the share price as investors assume the NX is more favored over smartphone games. The shared processing patent implied, if used for the NX, that's in parentheses, the device could work with rival consoles/smartphones. Hence, we believe smartphone games, in parentheses, some of the 5 by March 2017, end parentheses, will work with the NX and actually help to drive sales of both. It's possible the NX worked with PS4, PCs, and would be a major change for Nintendo and be a positive.
It's
I don't
possible
think so.
that it's waterproof and I can shower with
It's
it, but it's
possible.
not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's possible that it makes toast and is an awesome thing to have at the breakfast
The
table.
smartphone thing to me sounds like a likely direction, right?
Well, yeah, because everything sort of seems to, at least these days, have some sort of and you're talking about a company that is very much considering entering the app game. Very recently talked about Nintendo account and launched it in Japan and is trying to find ways to utilize your smartphone as a way to advertise and talk about things that are coming up for them. Outside of regular social channels.
Yeah, look, I think speculation is fun, and obviously, when you're talking to investors, you have to comb through, as an analyst, you have to comb through every nugget of information, and then you have to make a judgment call, right? And in some cases, also outline all the possibilities.
And that's what he's doing.
And that's
this
exactly
is analyst David Gibson.
Yeah.
I regret for not mentioning his name.
And I'm sure he doesn't want people to walk away and say like he just told the world the NX works with a PS4, right? Like he's highlighting all the different possibilities of where this could be going for people who are interested in investing or selling their shares.
Yeah, but that whole line about it being a positive to me is just like, no, I just don't see that at all. Let's then comb to another story that popped up this week. So a market research company launched a survey that leaked And this survey, so I actually, before coming back to IGN, did a small stint with a market research firm. And basically this is, I can't go into specifics, but I can say that companies do reach out to market research firm to basically get a sample of data from a certain age group, a certain buyer, a certain demographic.
Yeah.
It is very much a percentile that they're looking for.
Segmentation studies, right?
Yeah, that's what this is.
You're trying to get feedback across all these different
Absolutely. So this particular survey brought up Nintendo NX, and people jumped to the conclusion is sharing actual information.
Do we know that Nintendo commissioned it?
Yeah. Do we know Nintendo commissioned it, and is it actual information? I think no to the second one. The first one, who knows? But here are the bullet points as they were outlined. The exclusive game franchises featuring Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and more. That's a given. Connect with other Nintendo players around the world via Nintendo Network. That's a given.
What?
Gameplay flows between Nintendo NX console and Nintendo NX handheld device. That is a thing that we have all been talking about for a while.
Seems very likely.
Yeah.
Well, you can also just put Wii U in there, and it still is true. The Wii U is a console and a handheld device. You just can't leave the house with it.
Earn and share gaming achievements, triumphs, and defeats with your gaming friends, and the Nintendo gaming community. Miiverse, except minus achievements. Well, it's a game-by-game basis. Hyrule Warriors had it.
I guarantee you, if you did market research and asked, do you like achievements, players would say yes.
Yeah.
So maybe Nintendo would go down that route, right?
Surf the web or make video calls on your TV. Wii U does that.
Yep.
Supports 4K, 60 frames per second video streaming. That's new. Gameplay graphics at 900p, 60 frames per second. So this was the thing that set off just a flood of comments. And then what's in the box? Nintendo NX console, sensor bar, game controller, HDMI cable. So let's focus on the top part. Who cares about the sensor bar right now? 900p, 60 frames per second sets off a wave of what, why, it's not 1080, I don't buy, this is crazy. And people kind of taking this almost as gospel when, in fact, who the knows where it came from.
Nice. You bleep yourself.
Yeah,
well
I do.
Done. I was impressed.
But well, first of all, why would that be in a consumer research? Because the audience does not understand what that means, right? Who knows what 900p gameplay is, other than people who really, really follow the world of console gaming and know the controversy between the 1080p debate between
but
the
you can argue those kids were some of the loudest when the last console generation kicked off, and Sony was saying, hey, we do this, we have this much RAM, we're a technically stronger machine.
Yeah, but then secondly,
those are your evangelists.
The resolution and the frame rate you get out of a console, we're assuming, look, the max resolution is probably going to be 1080p, right? The PlayStation 4 will do 4K video streaming, eventually, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to do 4K for gameplay. That's just how these machines are built. So the NX is probably going to, if it connects to a TV, support 1080p, we hope, right?
But, if this is a survey of early adopters, maybe they're just throwing the term out there to see what the reaction is. If that's the kind of market research they're doing, maybe they want to know what happens if we put 900p on it.
If this was real, what this would mean is that the device is centered around a handheld screen that has up to a 900p display.
Which would be an interesting achievement, because when you look at Vita or 3DS, neither one was HD.
Yeah.
Your gamepad right now is 480p.
That's right.
If you care.
When you connect this to a TV, it'll go up to 900p. For a handheld, that is an achievement. Because that doesn't happen with the Wii U screen. That doesn't happen when you put your Vita games.
You do have very high resolution screens on your mobile device.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this has been chopped up every which way. I got people tweeting me going, maybe it's just for the mobile device.
Well,
maybe it's
but then if it's a
me.
console, obviously a statement like that is just, and if it's a normal console, then it's such a weird statement, because the resolution and the frame rate really depend on the games.
Well, we're talking about Nintendo, who never wants to talk about tech specs, who very rarely wants to try and tackle that subject on any front, more specifically between the last two generations of their machines, because the last two generations of their machines weren't trying to compete.
Yeah.
To an extent.
I just feel like that is a piece of information that you wouldn't put out there, because 900p is never a positive, and the audience will not, if it's the case that it's a handheld connecting to a TV and running at 900p, the audience will never see that as a positive without additional information. Then you would say HD.
Yeah,
maybe that's what the survey was trying to determine, is what the reaction would be, if it's real. I mean, this could all be.
Then it would have asked HD, which is a term everyone understands, even though it can mean so many different things.
Yeah, that's possible.
Unless the demographic for this survey was super hardcore gamer who plays 30 hours of whatever game a week. Like, this is how these segmentation studies happen. They turn to a company and say, hey, find me dudes between 18 and 35 who have bought this many games in the past year, who have are spending this much time on a console, who have played this many hours of Call of Duty. Like, it gets really, really granular. I'm not trying to say this is valid. I'm just trying to say this is how these things work.
But then it would be clearer. It would tell you what it is.
No, not at this level. No, this is the actual survey itself.
Right. They're trying to get information. If this is part of the survey here, and they're trying to figure out how many of these are going to sell, say, the first year, to the kind of people that buy things as early adopters, to the hardcore gamers, to the people that they think they might have lost with the last generation. This is the kind of question that they're going to want to know before they decide how to market the thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you could be asking those questions to inform your marketing decisions. Should you go out and say, hey, 900p, never before done on a TV screen with a handheld device, right? Like, to learn whether people think that's a good way to market it. That would make sense to me. It's just something smells fishy about this guy.
No,
and by the way,
agree.
Just because a survey asks questions about a certain product doesn't mean that it is in any way tied to the product. Last week, we talked, our legal guys, our legal team was trying to find out who is running a survey in the name of IGN Entertainment. Full disclosure, that's the company I run. Asking questions about the experience on IGN.
Yeah.
And it's not us. It wasn't us. Somebody is using our name, whether it's a phishing scheme or it's a competitor trying to learn something about you, right? And so that's, just so you know, that's how surveys can come about too.
That makes sense.
So our recommendation, take it easy. Take a step back. Anything that comes up about NX is going to get you riled up. And you know what? At the end of the day, you just don't know.
Take it with a giant block of Dead Sea pink salt.
But the longer this silence from Nintendo continues, it's unfortunate, but the longer this is going to happen. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, but they don't care. I mean, they care if you guess what it is and you go, oh man, that's do not want. But if there are 100 theories, that's fine. That
you want
makes
one more
feel
theory?
More confident.
You got time for one
more?
more? We got one
more.
more. I'm so tired of NX, and it's already 2016 just started, and I'm done. I just call me back when it works. In 2016, analysts are saying that the portable side of Nintendo NX will come in 2016, and the console doohickey will come in 2017. I think doohickey is a good word. This also came from Require Capital Securities. Again, this is from David Gibson's group. Again, he's an analyst. He gets paid to do this. It's part of his job. But they speculate in that same report that the portable will cost $200, which I think is, again, speculation. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. They're just looking at components, trying to figure it out.
But this idea of the portable and the console sharing some sort of an environment but coming out at different times, that's something that I have felt kind of strongly about over time, where I feel like whatever this platform is, it's going to incorporate multiple devices. That's fine. So? I think it can, or it's part of the plan. This is why people have been speculating like crazy over uniting handheld and home console teams, looking closely at how Apple gets a game to sort of scale between multiple devices. Although you can argue Apple games don't scale to your TV, and when they do, they still look a little strange depending on the game.
But
go ahead.
No, but if it's a split device, and we haven't talked about our opinions of what NX is going to be in a year, right? We talked about it way back when on NVC. Yeah. My thought and hope was, hey, maybe they'll finally nail the concept of a device that can be played with a TV and on the go, truly you can take it with you, which isn't like the Vita, which was console gaming on the go, and something that is more grounded, that actually gives you experiences that are worth playing on the go and are designed for on the go, a lot of iPhone games are as well. this would be 2 devices, and it would be splitting the market. And like I'm trying to wrap my head around like if the Wii U is not doing that well this year, and like the lineup is slowing down. We have a mega hit like Zelda coming, maybe hopefully some more games like a new Pikmin. But like let's say the Wii U is kind of tapering out. Is the 3DS tapering out and worth risking replacing it with a new handheld by the end of the year?
It has been 5 years. Go ahead,
It has, yeah. 2 thoughts on that. First, I mean, Nintendo has never hesitated to kill something in favor of something new.
It's
I
true.
mean,
They
like
usually say they're adding another pillar, right?
Which is what they're doing
but then
here.
the
Which is
pillar-
exactly
the other pillow goes missing.
Which is
Go
exactly
ahead.
the messaging they're giving us right now. But they killed the Game Boy Advance with an axe the moment it was clear the DS had taken off. I mean, that third pillar became a second pillar in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm not so worried about the messaging on that. I think that's one part of it. They're not going to hesitate if they move over in that. The second is that I like what Jose said about Apple. Maybe this has something to do with trying to create a mentality that you and your family, or you and your children, knowing Nintendo, live in a Nintendo household. This is a place where there are independent devices that are also interdependent, that owning them by themselves is absolutely worth the expense and the trouble, but you tend to buy other ones because they all play nice together. Your Nintendo software application product on your cell phone works really nicely with that thing you've got under your TV, which works really nicely with that cool dedicated handheld, which also works really nicely with some fourth thing they invent later on, just like frankly, friends of mine sit in their house with their Apple phones and their iPads and their Apple TVs and their, and you go down the list of things that people with that kind of brand loyalty go and grab. Maybe they're going for that kind of weird diversification. I don't know if it works or not, but I think it's an interesting idea.
It is. I mean, like there's a lot in here. Like if this was true, and like people have guessed at this, saying like it's different device, it's 2 devices, 1 device, it's a console, it's a handheld, right? But if this was true, that it could be like distributed computing, right? Like where you have a machine that acts a certain way when you're on the go, but when you're at home, it leverages another chipset.
And that's where that patent comes into play, if it's part of this grand scheme or not. I mean, we're going to sit here and throw every theory in the book at it because we don't know. And guess what? You don't know. So I find this so tiring. Like we are in a situation where
because
the minute they
clarity.
finally,
I
love clarity. I love you
the
show me what
fog,
it is.
Jose.
We respond and talk and then give criticism based on something physical, not something so abstract like this stuff.
You're not.
I could be a
like
dreamer
us.
in some cases, but this is not one of them.
Look, it's all to me. It's all interesting talk, and I know some of our fans get frustrated. Like, why do you keep talking about the speculation? And it's like, well, first of all, that's all we got, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a really exciting topic. I mean, I'm excited to hear more about this.
Same, yeah.
It is if Nintendo is really going to create a powerful handheld that also connects with the home. That's a really interesting move after seeing what happened with the Vita. And like, I like my Vita. I think it's a really cool device. There's some really good games on it. But ultimately, it was for a niche audience that wanted to play console games on the
Well, and
go.
ultimately, Sony kind of said, hey, let's just throw everything towards PS4 to make that successful.
Yeah, and I feel like, I think people have responded to that device saying like, well, I really don't want to play a full-fledged Uncharted on the go, but there are certain games that I really like taking with me and playing. But it's really interesting. Like if Nintendo is going down that route, it sounds like Sony is packing up and basically saying, here's a handheld market Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of smart
what's
to lean
left
into
of it
right?
after this thing cleaned up on everyone.
This thing you're holding up for the audio
an
listeners,
iPhone.
an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
And not that 50 million 3DSs is something to sneeze at. That's an achievement. But it's a much more crowded space these days. And if you're going to get developer dollars, if you're going to get publisher dollars, people who are going to invest and make games for your platform has to ultimately compete with those things.
And even if you're a gamer who says, I don't like the types of games I can play on iPhone, on iPhones
doesn't
or
matter.
Android
There
devices,
are thousands and millions of other people who like those games.
There is, it's the inherent advantage of a device already being in your pocket, right? And so there was some question about whether Nintendo would also come up with another use case, like for their next handheld, would there be some sort of feature that makes it more something that you have with you, right? There in the past, we've seen Nintendo partner with hotel chains to put,
museums,
Super NES games
the
into
Seattle
hotels.
Mariners to order food,
Partnering with car companies to build in Nintendo games into displays and minivans, right? Like there could be something else that we don't know about.
Yeah, whatever NX is, because what Jose just said about smartphones and how they have pushed into that market, Nintendo, whatever they do here with NX is going to be an effort to leverage those valuable, powerful properties in a new way that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, they that's their main strength. They own these ridiculously popular, iconic characters and franchises that you can only get through them, and they're going to try to leverage that in every way possible. I mean, they're already doing that in theme parks. They've talked about cartoons now, apparently.
When their inherent strength, despite quality of software, which I feel is always high, especially when it's first party, but sometimes you get your misses, is that portables have always carried them through everything.
Yeah.
Any storm that was a problem on the home console front was carried by the portable device and by Nintendo's success in the portable space. And I don't think that goes away at all. Like, at first I wondered if mobile became Nintendo's exit point to just put games on this device and then focus their efforts towards home consoles. I wondered if that was going to be the case, because this is such a hard thing. An iPhone, the Android market, is such a hard thing to compete against for them, because there are so many devices out there and so many third parties willing to take a shot on a game, because the opportunity is there to make a lot of money from the amount of people who have this thing.
Well, all of these rumors have one thing in common. There is a thought that whatever NX is, it's not something that conflicts with the mobile gaming market. It's something that ties it in, right? And I have no doubts Nintendo will have some huge hits, especially on iOS and especially in Japan. Pokemon Go has the potential to be absolutely massive. Pokemon Company is behind that one more than Nintendo, but Miitomo, like some of these games could be really, really huge and could be great marketing opportunities for a device that connects with it and does something bigger in the home. So I mean, it's really interesting. I think mobile in the short term is buying Nintendo some time, where they could say, you know what, we're going to make lots of dough this year with mobile games, and NX is fully going to come in the next year.
Or the year after.
But I think the book
but
is
you know
not
what would
written
really,
on that.
you know, and I hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to say it. You know what would really help calm the NX storm?
Go on.
Start talking about Zelda.
Oh, I see. I thought you were going to say
Wii U, which you put like 3 seconds of the same field we've seen before in the latest Amiibo commercial for Twilight Princess HD. Use that power that you have. Miyamoto, you told me you have Zelda footage you've been sitting on. Now's the time. Fire the cannon.
Why the reticence on their part on that?
We will find out at some point, I'm sure. But
I think, look, if it's too early, you risk that people get excited now and you can't sustain that excitement, right? And so they keep on showing the same thing. It's the beautiful field with the grass swaying and nothing else. That's what we're getting, right? I think they want to make a big splash when they have a release date nailed down. They know exactly when it's going to come out.
And the only reason you don't want to market that game too hard right now is that you have another Zelda remake that has to go out the door first in March. And maybe after that's out the door, we hear something like immediately, just like, hey, here you go. Here's a little more footage. Here's the actual subtitle. Here's the main character and all of his or her glory. I still think that's an open question. I'm alone on that one. And whatnot.
Well, and there's the thought that could this be a dual release like Twilight Princess was for GameCube and Wii? Now it's for NX and Wii U. I mean, they keep on like almost putting the Wii U logo in your face, saying, "Hey, just to make sure you know, this is a Wii U game." They keep on repeating that. That doesn't mean that it can't come to another platform.
But to me, that
it would
says
diminish the value.
But
of the
that
NX,
says to me that the NX question is still not really an answer for them yet, and they're still figuring that out. And I think people need to be patient. And I get why everyone's excited. And heck, I'm excited. I want to see what the next Nintendo thing is. But right now, the biggest horse you have is Epona.
Yeah,
and you need to use it. Right? Is all I'm saying.